Hey everybody, Cinema Sickness here with another weekly watch video for you, where we take a look at all the titles that I've recently been watching, and I briefly discuss them. So like always, let's just dive right into this pile of movies, and take a look at everything that I've recently checked out. So the first title we have here is some more Nat Geo, because I've been watching a ton of Nat Geo recently. A lot of it's because a lot of you guys have been asking about Nat Geo. You guys asked to see a video with me showcasing my entire Nat Geo collection. And after I did that, it got me really thinking that, wow, I have all this Nat Geo in my collection, and I love National Geographic documentaries. It's kind of ridiculous that I've only seen like 10% of them. I really need to get around to watching more of them. So I've been doing that, and the one I just checked out here was Egypt, Secrets of the Pharaohs. Another fantastic National Geographic documentary, which I don't really have too much to say about. That's the one thing about National Geographic. I mean, a lot of times it's kind of just like, if you like National Geographic documentaries, if you like the topic of Egypt, see this. That's really it. Wouldn't say it's anything above and beyond. It's just a National Geographic documentary about Egypt and the secret of the pharaohs, and they find a tomb and they go into it, and it is what it is. But if you like Egypt documentaries, if you like National Geographic documentaries, check it out. I really don't have much more to say about it than that. It was well done, though. That was easy. Alright, so the next title we have here is Quarantine 2 Terminal. Really excited about watching this because I really did enjoy Quarantine. Thought it was a great movie. I really like Record, or Rec. Is it pronounced Rec or Record? You know, the R-E-C period, the actual original movie. Do you say Record or do you say Rec? I never had any idea which way you're supposed to pronounce that. I usually just say Record. Love the movie. It was fantastic. Thought it was amazing. See the original. It was great. But Quarantine was also really good as well. I really enjoyed that. Quarantine 2, it felt like a sequel. It wasn't anything amazing. It's more of the same. It does take place after actually, I guess it takes place during, sort of during the whole time period that the first one took place in. It's another guy who has this disease, this basically kind of like evolved from like human rabies thing going on that turns you all into like zombies. He wants to basically go overseas and spread this plague, and that was his whole thing. He brought these rats aboard this plane, they escaped, and now everybody on the plane is being bitten and turned into these zombies. And the reason why it's called Terminal is because once the plane ends up landing, because you know, the shit's hitting the fan while they're in the air, they land and they quarantine them off in the terminal, and now they're, you know, trying to get out and whatnot. And again, it's more of the same, just not nearly as good or as entertaining. It's just a mediocre sequel. If you've seen the first one, sure, check it out, but it's nothing you need to see at all. I would definitely recommend seeing Record, see Quarantine. They're both good movies, but Quarantine 2, it's just, it's more of the same, but not as entertaining. And that's the thing. I mean, if you're going to have more of the same, you want more of the same, you want entertaining. You're like, all right, I've already seen this movie, but let's make it entertaining. Let's make it something a little different, or something, you know, at least as exciting. And this way you don't get that. It's like a watered down, not nearly as good version of the first movie, and this time, instead of being in an apartment building, they're in a terminal. So it's nothing amazing, nothing you need to see. I'd say if you've seen the first one and you want to see this, sure, check it out. It kept me entertained. It was okay. It had some nice zombie scenes, but all in all, it's really nothing you need to see. Just see the first one. That's the one you really got to check out. And definitely check out Rec or Record, whatever you want to call it. It's a fantastic film. Check that one out. But Quarantine 2 Terminal, you don't need to see it. Then some more Nat Geo with National Geographic, Egypt Eternal, The Quest for the Lost Tombs. Once again, like I said, if you like National Geographic, if you like Egypt, the topic of Egypt documentaries, then you should see this. Again, I just don't have too much to say about it. I would love to just go into all kinds of detail on this one, but it is what it is. It's just a National Geographic documentary about Egypt. See it if that sounds like your thing. It's National Geographic. They're fantastic. I just don't have too much to say about these National Geographic documentaries a lot of the time. So sorry about that, but it's fantastic. See it. Then I watched again, easy. I love that there's a lot of Nat Geo documentaries in this pile. It's going to make this a lot easier. Next thing I checked out was The Game Plan. Finally checked out The Game Plan. I've wanted to watch this for a while now. The first copy I ever picked up was like a Polish release called like Plan Gry or something like that. I had that, never got around to watching it, and then finally got picked up an actual U.S. release, and I just never got around to watching it until finally this week I checked it out, and I loved it. Thought it was great. Definitely a family-friendly, feel-good Disney movie with The Rock, and I love anything The Rock's in for the most point, and I thought it was pretty good. I would recommend it. Now, with that being said, it's not going to be for everybody. Like I said, it's a family-friendly, feel-good Disney movie. It's all about The Rock, and he's just, kind of like stuck-up, arrogant football player. Finds out he has a kid, which is a crazy story in of itself, how that ends up happening. But finds out he has this kid, and basically, very typical, what's going to happen. He just comes to terms with having a kid, ends up loving her, and in the process changing, not being so selfish anymore. The winning... they're like in the Super Bowl or a playoffs or something like that. It's like the winning game, and instead of him doing what he normally does, where he's the I'm not a football guy. I guess he's the quarterback, the guy who throws the football. I don't know. He's the quarterback, and he's got somebody open in the end zone, and instead of throwing the ball to him, and which is going to be like an easy catch, there's a guy like wide open. He'll just keep the ball and then run it into the end zone. And he does that for the fame and glory because, hey, I ran into the end zone. I scored the goal. Everybody loved me. He's that kind of person. But, of course, in that last game, he does end up throwing the ball to his teammate who scores. The teammate takes the glory. And it's all of that kind of stuff. He just very typical where he just kind of comes to terms with, himself and becomes a better person through his newly found daughter. So... would I recommend it for everybody? No, it's not going to be for everybody. But if you like family-friendly, feel-good Disney movies, see it. It is what it is, and I like these 7 movies. I have nothing wrong with these movies, and I'm just a sucker for them. I love Disney titles, especially these ones. They're great. So I'd recommend it. I'd say definitely see it, but it's not going to be for everybody. Then some more National Geographic with Civil War Gold. I will say a little bit different, something different about this one. That is the fact that it's interesting to see them do a salvage project. That's what this is. Unlike a lot of the other National Geographic documentaries that I've watched where they've like searched for sunken ships and stuff like that, where they basically they're just trying to find them, and once they found them, they kind of like document them and say, okay, here they are, and then they leave. This one, they're actually trying to find the ship, they find it, and then after that, they actually salvage all the gold. Well, actually, that's a lie. They don't salvage all the gold. They're still looking for some, but they salvaged a bunch of gold, and it's worth ridiculous amounts of money. And it's very interesting to hear this expert, this a coin expert, basically say like, when you salvage this, you got to figure out something you could possibly do to keep it from getting scratched. Because the guy was saying, he's like, you could have this coin worth $1 million, and when you're bringing, if you dump it all into like a bucket or something like that, and you're bringing it up from the surface of the ocean, there could be a grain of sand in between 2 pieces of gold that just scratch slightly. Even the naked eye won't see it, but you take a magnifying glass to that, you see this tiny scratch on this piece of gold. It brings it from like $1 million to like $1,000. He's like, it'll drop the price considerably just because of some super minute, fine scratch. So they have to figure out like a way to bring the gold up without getting it scratched. I think they find some like gel they could put in or something like that. They come up with a way to do it, but it's pretty interesting to see like an actual salvage project. 'Cause you don't usually see that too often. At least I don't see too often in National Geographic documentaries. Usually they're trying to find a ship, they find it, they say, hey, we found the ship, and then they go on their way. This one was pretty neat just to watch them salvage all these artifacts and all this gold, and they're still looking for gold. I think they said like they only found like 25% of the gold, so there's like a boatload more gold down there somewhere they're still looking for. So very awesome. Decent documentary. If you're into salvage projects, if you're into all those, great, if you're into ships, if you're into the Civil War, if you're into Nat Geo, this one here can satisfy all kinds of interests. So more Nat Geo, more fantastic watches. Check it out. I'd highly recommend it. Then a movie that I was really interested in seeing because I had heard some decent things about this. And I remember a lot of people saying, I think like last Halloween, they were checking this one out. And I really wanted to see it, and I was finally sent a copy, so I definitely had to check it out. In fact, I watched it the very night it was sent to me, and that is All Hallows Eve. Look at that. That is freaking creepy there. I love that. He looks horrified. I believe his name is Art the Clown. Very creepy looking. This movie was kind of weird for me because part of me thinks to myself, it wasn't anything all that amazing. It was just okay. I wasn't blown away by anything like that, but once it was over, I couldn't stop thinking about it. it doesn't happen. I don't even know what to say. It just doesn't happen to me too often in movies where I go, that was okay, and then like I'm like, I kind of want to watch it again. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, wow, this movie, and I'm constantly thinking about Art the Clown and all the scenes, and it's just weird how it kind of like got to me, even though I just thought it was mediocre, which it's weird. Like I said, usually if I think a movie's mediocre, I'm just like, okay, it's mediocre. You don't need to see it. Whatever. See if you want, don't see it. I don't care. But this one, I'm going to say, yeah, it was kind of mediocre, but check it out. There's just something about it that really stuck with me and actually makes me want to watch it again. In fact, this October, I'll probably rewatch this. And who knows, maybe it's one of those movies where even the second time around, I'll enjoy it even more. It's one of those anthology movies where it's there's a bunch of stories and like one story holding them all together. And the stories are okay. They're not anything amazing. I definitely like the Art the Clown story the best, which is like the last story. I enjoy his story the best, but the other two, they're okay. They're nothing amazing, but they're all right stories. And it's just interesting that these kids out trick or treating and they're home with a babysitter, and this one kid gets a VHS tape in his bag, and then they talk the babysitter into watching it, and it ends up being these creepy videos that they watch. And of course, in the end, well, I won't give it away, but you kind of see the ending coming. But yeah, it's really hard for me to pinpoint what about this movie that I really liked. It's hard for me to say because I just felt the stories were kind of mediocre. I felt like the acting was mediocre. I just felt everything about this movie was kind of mediocre. It wasn't anything amazing in my opinion. It wasn't like this isn't the next Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat, I think, is an amazing movie. See that. It's fantastic. Great anthology movie there. Love that movie. But this one, again, I just kind of thought it was just mediocre. I mean, I think it was trying to be the next Trick or Treat, and it just didn't quite get to that level. But again, something about it I really liked, and I will be watching this one again. So I would say see it. Maybe you can watch it and kind of pinpoint what it is about the movie you like or dislike more than I can. It was really hard for me to say. I've never really had this kind of feeling watching a movie before, where again, like I just kind of went, that was okay, and then after it was over, I was like, I kind of want to see it again. I just started thinking about it, and it became this entity within itself inside of my head. So see the movie. It's an interesting one. Definitely check this out. It's hard for me to say. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it, but in a weird sort of way. So see this one. Then I finished up the second to last season of Everybody Loves Raymond with the complete 8th season. Once again, an absolutely fantastic sitcom. Big fan of this one. Definitely check it out. If you're a fan of sitcoms, see it. It's extremely funny. Love the whole family aspect of it. Though, once again, like I said in Season 7, it is kind of getting a little stale. I see why this is the second to last season. I see why the next season, Season 9, is the last one. It is kind of getting stale. The storyline, it's the same thing over and over again, which is just this family getting in some weird situation and then bickering, and it's just basically just, hey, my family's crazy, ha ha ha, which is funny, but as it goes on and on and on and on and on, it does get a little old, I would say, only because it's nothing new. It's just, okay, my family's crazy again. Next episode, my family's crazy again. My next episode, my family's crazy again. And it almost seems like the same stuff over and over again, even though they're arguing or some other situation. They're getting in some other situation every episode. It's the same thing. It's like the same plot, just with a different, different scenario. So it is getting a little stale. I felt like the original episodes, they were a bit more, even though it wasn't getting about my crazy family, I still felt they were a bit more, the stories were more interesting and they differed from one another enough that it kept it kind of fresh, whereas now it's kind of just getting a little stale. In fact, there are some episodes in here where I'm watching them and going, wait, did I see this episode already? Like, are they re-airing an episode? Like, it's actually to that point now where I'm almost thinking I've seen an episode because it's so similar to other episodes. So it is what it is. Like I said, the show is getting a little stale, but I'm not trying to knock it. It's still good. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still finding many, 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 many laughs out of the show. Season 8 was very funny. I had a lot of laughs. Just that the stories are getting a bit stale, and I see why it's coming to an end. But still, Everybody Loves Raymond. Check it out. Very funny show. If you like sitcoms, see this one. Then a movie that a lot of you guys, when I said I was watching this one, were saying it was fantastic, and I completely agree. And I'm kind of bummed on myself that I put off watching this one, because when I picked it up, I wanted to see it, and then I let it go for a little while. But I should have watched this one a lot sooner, because it was fantastic, and that was Lawless. This was great. Just a brilliant, brilliant story. just about this bootleg family and just all the crap that goes down during Prohibition. And it's a wild ride and a lot of fun. Everybody in this movie is fantastic. I mean, Shia LaBeouf is fantastic in it. I mean, Gary Oldman was great in it too. Of course, Gary Oldman's just fantastic in everything. Tom Hardy is great. Guy Pearce is fantastic, and so on and so forth. Just a great movie. I'll be watching this one again probably real soon. It was really well done, and it just shows you Shia LaBeouf. I mean, I enjoy his movies. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, I for a while there, back when I remember when he was, before he got, basically Transformers made him huge, I used to say he was a very underrated actor. I used to say, like, I think he's one of the best actors out there. I don't know why he doesn't get more parts. And then Transformers came out and he just became like the big hot shit. And then I was kind of like, okay, I'm not so into him anymore. But I think I still think he's a really good actor. And I really do enjoy when he gets the right role. When you give him a really good role, like in Lawless, he shines. Transformers, he was. I didn't hate him in it, but he was alright in it. I mean, he didn't blow me away in Transformers. Even Indiana Jones, he didn't blow me away, and things like that. He was just kind of like, he was alright, and he wasn't bad, but he wasn't anything amazing. But give him a role like in Lawless, he's fantastic. So a great movie, just a fantastic title that all these this bootleg family, just all the craziness they go through and how they survive through all this. I love the ending too. Very interesting ending. So really good movie. I'm sure you've all heard fantastic things about Lawless. Everything you heard is correct. Check this out. It's brilliant. I'm not going to get into it too much. I don't want to get into the whole plot and spoil it all for you, but it's definitely worth checking out. This here is one to see. Hey, mark that to you, National Geographic, with, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Odzala? Islands in the Forest. Interesting documentary about the rainforest, how it has these, what they call islands, which is basically these weird clearings. There's, for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles, there's rainforest, and you have this, like, this big clearing that's just like grassland with, like, some water going through it, and that's what it is. And it's basically just all these different animals who come to these clearings, elephants, gorillas, gazelles, all sorts of, rainforest type animals. And they talk about how some, it's all different. Some of the animals live right by the clearings, and they'll come into them, and some who live by them will even avoid the clearings. Whereas some other animals who live, ridiculously far away will travel all this way just to come to these clearings. And a lot of times they're not sure why they're doing this, why they're coming to these clearings, what is it they get out of it, and do they really need to be coming here, and get why some animals travel so far and why some animals who live so close don't go at all, what's going on. So very interesting. I didn't know these little, like, pockets of these little islands, these little pockets of clearings existed, and they're natural. They're not, we're not talking like man-made clearings in the forest. We're talking natural clearings in the forest. So very interesting. Well done documentary. Would recommend this one if, again, this sounds like your thing. It's definitely worth checking out. Really enjoyed it. A lot of great animal footage in this as well, which is pretty cool. So definitely check this one out. Another great National Geographic documentary. And then finally, the last that we have here to talk about. This one I thought was just okay. Wasn't blown away by, and that is Motherhood. Yeah, it was all right. It's all really about Uma Thurman kind of coming to terms with being a mother. She's getting all flustered because she's got so much to do, and just taking care of these two kids is really hectic and whatnot, which I'm watching this and I'm thinking, like, really, lady? Like, I would kill to be in her position where, oh, she has to run around and do all this stuff and make lunches for her kids and take her kids to school and do all this and just all this stuff she has to do. And I'm thinking to myself, right now, I have a 3-month-old. He's going to be 3 months, like, in a week. I have a 3-month-old who just needs constant attention. As a 3-month-old, you can't let him go. He doesn't even like being put into, like, a chair. We have these, like, those rocking chairs that, like, rock him back and forth. He hates those. This kid wants to be held all the time, wants to be played with all the time. You can't just set him down and be like, all right, I'm going to go do something really quick. You just stay right here. He'll freak out and cry the entire time. That's just how it works. And when he's occasionally sleeping, I say occasionally because now that when he was a baby, he slept all the time. Now, when he was like a newborn, he slept all the time. Now he's 3 months old, he's not sleeping as much. I would kill to be in her position where you have a child who you can take to a playground and say, okay, go play, who, when they show her at home with her kid's entertaining himself, and she's writing on her little blog, and I'm like, oh my God, I wish I was in your position where I had some free time and I could just set my kid down and say, play by yourself, entertain yourself, watch a movie, draw, do something that just lets me kind of do what I need to do. Wish I was in that situation. So to see her freak out and get all flustered, I was like, screw you, ladies. I wish when my kid's like a few years older, I'm gonna love it. I don't care if I got to run around and do all kinds of stuff. I don't care if I got to pack lunches and run the kid to school. I mean, yeah, it might be. I'm not saying it's not gonna be stressful. I'm not gonna say there's gonna be a lot to do, but it's at least I get to do get some of my stuff done as well. I mean, yeah, granted, I'm still gonna be very busy, but not in the same way. Not where I can't put the kid down for a second. So, I don't know. Of course, her and her husband, they're kind of a bit on the rocks because they're both sort of frustrated being a parents, and they come to terms with it, end up kind of realizing each other, and the relationship gets better towards the end. And just I don't know. I wasn't blown away by this one. I wouldn't even recommend it. I would just say it was all right. I guess if you've been thinking about checking out Motherhood, I guess see it, but this is nothing you need to see. And let's put it this way: I paid $1 for this. Got this for $1 at Dollar Tree. I'm glad that's all I paid for it. Again, I'm not saying it's a horrible movie. It kept me entertained, but it just wasn't anything great. So $1 seemed like a good price for this one. It really wasn't worth much more. It's just very mediocre. I can't really recommend this one too much. I say again, if you really want to see it, see it. Otherwise, you don't need to. So there you go, guys. That is it. That's everything that I've recently been checking out. A lot more great titles. Tons of great National Geographic titles. You always gotta love that. Again, Quarantine 2, it was okay. It wasn't a horrible movie, but it wasn't anything. It didn't live up to the original. See the original. Game Plan, family friendly Disney movie. If that's your thing, check it out. I enjoyed this one. All Hallows Eve. Once again, see it. It really weird movie in the way that I just kind of went afterwards, and then sort of over time, like overnight, kind of went, I kind of liked it. So check this one out. It's an interesting movie. Check it out. Great sitcom. Everybody loves Raymond. See it. Lawless. Must see. This was such a good movie. And Motherhood. Mediocre. Only see if you really want to. And of course, all the National Geographic documentaries. If you like Nat Geo, if all those titles seem like... it's really all Nat Geo. I can say this to any National Geographic documentary whatsoever. If the subject matter intrigues you, see it. Because National Geographic documentaries are fantastic. So if you look at a National Geographic documentary and you go, that looks like a really cool subject, see it. That's the easiest way to talk about National Geographic. So anyway, guys, that is it. So like I always say, if you like this video, please give me a like. If you're not already subbed, please do. And if you're not already over at cinemasickness.com, head on over there, check it out. A lot more to see there than just these videos. All kinds of things on like deals going on, up-to-date information on deals. Definitely check it out. Of course, while you're there, you can check out Team Sickness. If you like my videos, definitely check out their videos. And also, while you're there, be sure to click on that merchandise tab and purchase yourself a Cinema Sickness sticker and or a Cinema Sickness button. They are dirt cheap, and I would certainly appreciate your support. And of course, you can always find links to all my social media sites, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and so on and so forth. It's all there. Follow me on those sites as well. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.